Hello, 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 Almas ma'am. Hello, hello,
Yes, madam.
hello. Shall I start?
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay. Good morning, students. Myself is Supriya Kalgule. I am from Varli CFS Municipal Secondary School. Today, my subject is Standard 9. Today, we have started second phase, empowerment of women and other weaker sections. We have seen the this chapter. Now to continue the second part of this chapter. Before starting the second part, first we'll revise what we have studied yesterday. So, as we know that every human society is invariably characterized by the social differentiations, gender-based differentiations is one, and men had the role of the earning money, and women had the role of rearing children and cooking food. A historical understanding of the status of women in early Indian society shows a declining trend in the position of women. The historical analysis of the position of women in ancient India shows that women did not share an equal position with men in the ancient period. Similarly, their position was as a subordinate men, and the Indian patriarchal society thrived as a dominant social, political, and economic life of people in the country, has never encouraged its women in any field except kitchen. Similarly, Indian women more relatively disempowered and they enjoy the lower status than that of men from the times immemorial. As we all know that there are some social reformers, they thought that the Soviet should be completely removed from the society, and then the women empowerment will take place. And as a result, Rajaram Mohan Roy, Ishwar Chandra Vidyasagar, Mahatma Jyotirao Phule, these and other social reformers came forward and they took initiative to remove the social evils from the society. As we know that Swami Vivekananda states, it is impossible to think the welfare of the world unless the condition of the woman is improved. It is impossible for a bird to fly on only one wing. So, like that, woman empowerment should take place. So, we have seen that women had participated extensively in the freedom struggle and they have made a significant contributions in all the fields in the post independence period. Still, gender based discrimination exists. As we know that yesterday we have seen one table, and in that we have discussed how many women are there behind the 1000 men. So the census, according to the census 1951, there were 946 women behind 1000 men. In the year 1961, there were 940 women. Then in the year 1971, 930 women. 1981, there were 934 women. And in the year 1991, 927 women. And in the year 2001, there were 933 women. So as we have seen that the number of women was decreasing. So the root cause of the problem of women is male-centric mentality of the men. Similarly, we have also studied about the Bhudan movement that was started by the Vinoba Bhave, and Vinoba Bhave made use of woman power in the Bhudan movement. The message of the women in all the parts of India. Similarly, women has also played an important role in the Telangana peasants' armed struggle against the rule of the Nizam and the feudal system. Women became free from the bondage labor because of the Vinoba Bhave. Similarly, in the year 1972, under the leadership of Mrinal Gore, Latna Morcha, that is the rolling sea demonstration, it was led by Mrinal Gore. She was the great social activist leader, and Latna Morcha displayed the strength of the women. And this protest morcha was taken out against the price rise of commodities like kerosene, then ghee, oil, rava, maida, like essential goods. So when both the women showed their strength and the strength of the unity, then we have also studied about the Chipko movement. The Chipko movement was started in the 1973 in the forest region at the foothills of the Himalayas, and that was another show of the constructive woman power. Similarly, that Chipko movement was led by Chandi Prasad Bhatt and the Surya Hugna. These two personalities were the great activists of this movement. Gaura Devi created awareness among women with the help of Sudesha Devi, and similarly, women followed the strategy of holding hands and encircling each tree. Their method consisted of protecting the tree by embracing it, and the movement came to be known as the Chipko movement. So, as like the Bhudan movement, women also showed displayed their strength, the unity in the Chipko movement also. Similarly, we have also studied about the anti-liquor movement that also got success due because of the manpower. So the anti-liquor movement started against the consumption or the drinking of arak. Arak means the locally produced alcohol that was started by women in Andhra Pradesh. It received a good response as the women were aware of the sorrow and the poverty caused by the untimely deaths of the head of the families due to the addiction. So, for spreading awareness about this, the Sama started as a part of the awareness program, and it created awareness among the women against the alcohol. In 1992, the incident of drawing of three young persons in a state of invitation in Bhavanda village the state. The women of this village came together and forced to the closure of the arak shops, that is the alcohol shops or the wine shops. The government has to adopt a strict policy against the sale of the alcohol. Similarly, along with these movements and the demonstrations, we have also studied about the International Women's Year. United Nations of Organization had declared 1974 as the International Women's Year. Every year we celebrate it as the International Women's Day. So United Nations had declared 1975 as the International Women's Year. The three aspects of this program were peace, development, and equality between the men and women. A committee on status of women was constituted by the government of India in 1975 under the chairmanship Dr. Renu Guha. The committee studied the various problems which were faced by the women or related to women comprehensively. And these social activists that started starting women against the problems that they were facing. Sri Mukti Sangharsha Samiti, that was also organized a state level conference in the year 1975. Led the policy of struggle against the discrimination on the basis of gender, caste, and varna. Similarly, movement gathered a momentum with a collection of songs called a Sri Mukti Chi Lalkari, that was a Marathi song, and the street play that was called as the Mulgi, that was the Marathi play by the periodical Kairak Lalkari that was also started by Jyoti Mahapar. When groups were formed in the year 1977 and the Sri Mukti Andolan Samiti was also established by the Saudamini Rao in Pune. Similarly, Sri Anyay Virodhi Mancha was established in Aurangabad Mahila Dakshata Samiti, also established in Kolhapur. Mahila Hakka was established in Nashik, and Nari Prabodhan Manch was also established in Latur. Anti-dowry protection committees were also formed all over the Maharashtra. A conference to protest against the oppression of the women was organized in. So women have also made in the series of the in the post-independence too. Will study also the law and act of women, the weaker sections that are we are going to study. So when we study the condition of women in India, the roots of the several problems they face lie in the mentality of the men. And even in the 21st century, we have not been able to rid ourselves of this male-centered mentality. Research on women issues was undertaken at the various levels, and women studies centers were also started at the first women's university. The first women's university was established in Mumbai, that is the SNDT Women's University. Then Tata Institute of Social Sciences was also established in Mumbai. Savitribai Phule Pune University was also established. Shivaji University was also established in Kolhapur. Educational institutions were established, carrying out the research on this issue. Now we are going to see 19 women's right to alimony and their share in the father's property. Her right to Sridhan was also recognized. Polygamy was made illegal, and women, just like a man, right to sue for divorce. It was a law that took one step forward concerning women's issues over the following decade. The Dowry Prohibition Act of 1961 also made both giving and taking of dowry a cognizable criminal offense. This dismantled the dowry tradition by its roots and further encouraged the social movements. The law alleviated the disgrace to women caused by the undesirable tradition of dowry. The Maternity Benefit Act, which gave a woman the right to get leave from work at the time of childbirth, also came into force in the year 1961. These are the four most important rights of the laws that were enacted for the protection of the woman. That is right to alimony, right to equal share in father's property, right to Sridhan, and Maternity Benefit Act. Then Dowry Prohibition Act also came into force in the year 1961. Then right to sue for divorce, then Prevention of the Sati Act, and polygamy also made illegal. So now we have seen the laws which were enacted for the women, for the protection of the women. Now we are going to see awareness against the dowry tradition. Even after the enactment of anti-dowry law, incidents like women burned to death as a sari pallu catches fire while cooking and the woman slips into a well while washing clothes, drawn and dies continued to be reported. Investigations still revealed dowry to be the most frequent cause of such deaths. The role of the police, the administration, and the judiciary were highlighted, and this created a greater awareness. As a result, the Dowry Prohibition, that is the Amendment Act, came into force in the year 1984. Now we'll see the number of dowry deaths according to the year. In the year 1988, 2,209 dowry deaths were reported. In the year 1990, 4,835 dowry deaths were reported. And in the year 1993, 377 dowry deaths were reported. As these numbers will impress upon you the seriousness of the issue, because after 80, after 2 years, the number was doubled. And after 3 years, again, the number was from 4,835 to 5,377. 77. So number was increasing. So these numbers will impress upon you the seriousness of the issue. Now we see about the family courts that were established in the year 1984. Family courts were established to resolve the conflicts arising out of differences within a marriage and domestic problems, as well as issues such as the alimony. We will discuss the concept of alimony in our next slide. Single parenthood, separation, care of children, and the ownership, which are all related to the situation. The problems related to the marriages, domestic problems, alimony, single parenthood, separation of the care of children, and ownership, all these problems are discussed in the family courts because these problems are related to the family situations. These family courts give a priority to mutual understanding over the witness and evidence, and the counselors over the lawyers. Emphasis is on resolving issues quickly but justly. Trial involving alimony that was established in the year 1985. What is alimony now? A fixed amount paid to a married woman for her upkeep by the husband who has divorced her is called as alimony. This is not a new concept. So this question can be asked for 2 marks. Write a concept. So what is alimony? A fixed amount paid to a married woman for her upkeep by the husband who has divorced her is called as alimony. In the case of Muhammad Ahmad Khan versus Shahbano Begum, the Supreme Court gave the verdict means decision. Shahbano Begum had the right to alimony. However, religious organizations protested vociferously against the verdict. As a result, the Muslim Women's Act, that is the protection of right on divorce, was passed by the parliament, and it was specially for the Muslim women. Next, that is the Commission of Sati Prevention Act. On 4th September 1987, Rup Kanwar, a married woman, committed sati. She did not do this of her own free will, but she was forced into doing so. Committing sati, glorifying the practice of sati, were all illegal acts. The women activist and the journalist Meena Menon, Geeta Seshu, Sujata Anandan, Anu Joseph, and Kalpana Sharma investigated the case, and in the year 1998, the government passed the Sati Prevention Act with stringent provisions. Next point that we'll see now, that is the Protection of Human Rights Act. In 1993, this law was enacted to prevent injustice to men and women. The National Human Rights Commission was also formed for this purpose. In some states, the State Human Rights Commission was also formed on the same lines. This law, which deals with collective oppression, the social conditions of divorced women and sexual workforces, play a role in the mitigating injustices to women. Next point that we will discuss about the reservation for the women. The 73rd and the 74th amendments to the Constitution provide for reservation of 1/3 of the seats for women in Gram Panchayats, Panchayat Samitis, Jilla Parishad, municipalities, and the municipal corporations, as well as for the post of Sarpanch, Chairman, and the Mayor. Maharashtra and 15 other states have reserved 50% seats for the women. This provision provides women the opportunity to participate in the business of the community. In the post-independence period, the Constitution of India accepted the principle of equality of men and women. Hence, women got the important political right to vote. Women got equal rights to education and on work with the men. In human practice, dowry, and the polygamy were banned by law, and the women's right to suffrage votes was recognized. They got a lawful share in the property in a local self-government bodies. Seats were also reserved for women so that they would have their just share of the political power. We see today that due to these provisions, women have begun to get education and to earn. Also, due to the ideas of women's liberation, women were developing a sense of self. They have begun to participate enthusiastically and with determination in all fields of education, earning money, administration, and politics, etc. Now we'll see the scheduled caste. In the post-independence period, means after 1947, the Constitution adopted the values of freedom, equality, fraternity, and social justice. In accordance with this, the practice of untouchability was banned by law. Untouchability was removed by the 17th paragraph of the Constitution, and this class was included in the caste, which is popularly called as the SC caste reservation. In a view of the educational and social backwardness of these castes, they were given the reservation in education as well as jobs to facilitate their development. Next point, that is scheduled tribes, that is ST. Just like the scheduled caste, the scheduled tribes or the Adivasis who live in the remote parts of the country also face several difficulties as they have lived far away from the progress made in modern times and they are economically and socially backward. Even though their conditions have seen some improvements in recent times, they do not have any means of livelihood other than agriculture and the forest produced. Modern farming implements have not yet reached them. Hence, their income from agriculture is very small. Besides, their fields are on a hillsides and not fertile. They are malnourished due to insufficient and the poor quality of diet. Adivasis in remote areas find it difficult to get medical attention in time for all these reasons, and there is a need to give a special protection to Adivasis. In the Indian Constitution, Adivasis have been enumerated as a scheduled tribe that is called as STs. They are getting given representation in law boards, education, government service, etc. The scheduled tribes is about the nomadic and denotified tribes. Caste and tribes that move from place to place for a livelihood and the they live by rearing animals and engaging in some other occupations. The British had declared some of them as a criminal tribes. In the law of 1971, to curb the crimes, some of the main groups were mentioned as the criminal tribes, and their occupations and movements were banned. This unjust law was repealed in the post-independence period, means after 1947, and the curse on these tribes were lifted. They were cleared under dignified rights, and the special efforts are made by the government for the purpose of their social and economic development. These tribes have been given representation in educational institutions and the government sector. After the NTs, the nomadic tribes will see about minority. In any society, a group of people of particular region, particular language, or a particular race who are few in number are called as the minority. This concept can be asked for the 2 marks. What is minority? In any society, a group of people of a particular religion, particular language, or a particular race who are few numbers are called as the minority. As there are various religions, sects, and languages in our country, we see great cultural diversity and there is a variation in cultural traditions too. In order to preserve their cultural traditions and develop their own language, the Constitution gives the citizen certain educational and cultural rights. Minorities have the right to protect and conserve and preserve their language, culture, and traditions. For this purpose, they have the right to set up a separate educational institutions. The government implements various schemes for their progress. Here we have finished the second part of the empowerment of women and other weaker sections. Now we'll see evaluation part of this. Complete the statements by choosing the proper options. First one, the 73rd and the 74th Amendment, Constitutional Amendment Act provided reservation of dash of the seats for the women. Options are 25%, B 33%, C 40%, D 50%. Answer will be B 33%. The 73rd and the 74th Constitutional Amendment Act provided reservation of 33% of the seats for women. Second, Maharashtra and other states have reserved 50% seats for women. Options are A 8, B 12, percent seats for women. Third question. Untouchability was abolished by Article dash of the Constitution. Options are A 13, B 15, C 17, D 19. Answer will be C 17. Untouchability was abolished by Article 17 of the Constitution. Fourth question. The Prevention of Dowry Act was enacted in the year. Options are A 1951, B 1961, C 1971, D 1981. Answer will be B 1961. The Prevention of Dowry Act was enacted in the year 1961. Question number 2. Explain the following concepts. First question, minority. In any society, people of a particular region, language, or race who are smaller in number are called a minority. Second question, nomadic. Answer will be the tribes that move from place to place for livelihood are called nomadic tribes. Third question, scheduled caste. Answer, in any traditional caste hierarchy, certain castes were regarded as the untouchables. Article 17 of the Constitution has abolished the practice of untouchability of their social economic, and educational backwardness, they required special provisions for this purpose. Untouchable castes are listed in the schedule under the provision of Article 340 and of the scheduled caste. Reservation in the public employment and in education is provided to them. Question answer following questions in 20 to 30 words. First question, write a note on the Human Rights Protection Act. Answer will be first point, Human Rights Protection Act was enacted by the Parliament in 1993 to prevent injustice to men and women. Second point, it set up the National Human Rights Commission, that is NHRC, on the same lines in some states, and the State Human Rights Commission, that is SHRC, were established. Third point, this law is meant to mitigate injustice dealt to women in the form of collective oppression, divorcee women, exploitation of women at the workplace. This will be the answer of Human Rights Protection Act. Second question, write about the 73rd and the 75th constitutional amendments. First point, 73rd and 74th constitutional amendments provided reservation of one-third seats and the offices for women in panchayat samitis, Jilla Parishad, municipal councils, and the municipal corporations. Second point, thereafter, Maharashtra and 15 other states have increased the reservation from one-third to 50%. Third point, these provisions provide women an opportunity to participate in the business of the community. This will be the answer of 73rd and the 74th constitutional amendments. Third question, write about the family courts. Answer, first point, the family courts were established in 1984 to resolve the conflicts arising out of differences within the marriage and the domestic issues, such as the separation, divorce, alimony, custody of children, single parenthood, and ownership of the property. Second point, the family courts try to resolve the issues, disputes by mutual consent by the counselors rather than the lawyers. Third point, the family disputes are resolved without delay and justice is provided to concerned persons. Question number 4. Explain the following statements, reasons. First question. The Prevention of Dowry Amendment Act was enacted in 1984. Answer will be first point. Even after the enactment of the Prevention of Dowry Act in 1961, the atrocities against women did not stop. Second point, investigation revealed that the dowry was the most frequent cause of bride burning or suicide committed by the women. Third point, need was felt to make the provisions more stringent. Therefore, the Prevention of Dowry Amendment Act was enacted in the year 1984. Question number 2. The practice of untouchability was abolished by the Constitution. Answer will be first point. The Constitution of India had adopted the values of freedom, equality, fraternity, and social justice. Second point, the practice of untouchability was a stigma on the Indian society. Third point, it was contrary to the values adopted by the Indian Constitution. Therefore, the practice of untouchability was abolished by Article 17th of the Constitution. Third question, the Constitution was given cultural and educational rights to minorities. Answer will be first point. There is a cultural diversity in India. There is multiplicity religions and languages in India. It means India is multilingual and multi-religious country. Second point, there is a variation in cultural traditions too. Third point, in order to preserve their cultural traditions and to develop their languages, the Constitution has given the cultural and educational rights to them. This will be the answer of Constitution has given cultural and educational rights to minorities. One question in this case that the Muslim Women's Act was acted by the Parliament. Answer, first point. In any case of Muhammad Ahmad Khan, in the case of Muhammad Ahmad Khan versus Shahabanu Begum, Supreme Court gave the right to alimony to Shahabanu Begum in the year 1985. Second point, the religious organizations protested against verdict. Third point, as a result, the Muslim Women's Act, that is, the protection of rights on divorce, was passed by the Parliament. Next question. Provisions in the Prevention of Sati Act were made in the year 1998. Answer will be first point. Power from married women committed sati on 4th September 1987. Second point, she did not do this of her own free will, but she was forced into doing this. Third point, this devastation of the practice of sati was done in spite of the fact that the practice of sati was illegal. Fourth point, this case was investigated by the women activists and journalists. Therefore, stringent provisions in the Prevention of Act were made in the 1998. Next question. Special provisions are made in the Indian Constitution for the welfare. Answer will be first point. The Adivasis who live in a remote parts of the country are far away from the progress made in modern times. Second point, they are economically backward. Third point, they do not have any other means of livelihood other than agriculture. Fourth point, they suffer from poverty, malnutrition, and the lack of access to medical treatment. Therefore, special provisions are made in the Indian Constitution for the welfare of the Adivasis. Next question, that is that question can be asked for the 3 marks that answer the following question in detail that we'll discuss now. Write about the changes in the status of women in the post-independence period. Answer will be first point. In the post-independence period, means after 1947, the Constitution of India has accepted the principle of equality between the men and women. Point. It granted the fundamental right of equality of this and equality to women. Third point. Women got equal political rights, equal rights to education and employment. Fourth point, a provision has made equal pay for equal work to men and women. Fifth point, inhuman practices like sati, dowry, and polygamy were banned. Sixth point, women's right to divorce, alimony, and sharing family property were recognized. Seventh point, seats reserved for women in local government along with the share of power. Eighth point, as a result, themselves educated and becoming financially independent by earning. Ninth point, they have acquired the idea of liberation. Women develop their own identity and are actively participating in all the walks of life. So here we have discussed all the question answers related to the part. So let's now finish this in. Hello. Hello. Hello.
Yes, madam.
Hello. हाँ मैम